We got a lot of shit to cover, and I mean a lot. I can tell you 100% it's been a hell of a week, especially for those that are concerned with what's been going on. However, I'm going to give you my takes on things. We're going to start with this stupid question from a so-called journalist. She knows there's a huge difference between being here legally and illegally. Melania handles it with pure fucking class. Listen, and this is why I don't care about the raids that are going on with ICE. They entered this country illegally, should have gone through the proper protocols, but yet they chose not to. Listen.
You're an immigrant.
Yes.
Do you ever think he's gone too far?
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers. I had visa. I travel every few months back to the country, to Slovenia, to stamp the visa. I came back. I applied for the green card. I applied for the citizenship later on after many years of green card. So I went by system, I went by the law. And you should do that. You should not just say, okay, let me just stay here. And whatever happened, happens. Did.
But
I don't need to say a fucking thing else. She said it. Do it legally. Holy shit, what a concept, right? Everybody who's protesting all these fucking deportations and everything, go fuck yourself. Next item. Just saying, Sherman sound cries that Elon Musk may target IRS.
Just the beginning. If Doge attacks USAID today, then you can be sure they'll move on to another target tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Postal Service, or the IRS, or even the Social Security Administration. They could be next. Or maybe our National Security Agency.
NSA is not one that's going to get touched because they understand the National Security Agency plays a vital role. However, I wouldn't mind the IRS being touched and audited because why the fuck should we have to pay, sit there and pay fees and fines if we don't do our taxes correctly? Why the fuck should we have to do taxes to begin with? Taxation is theft. Simple. Like, those who are curious, we're just gonna do this. You get $5,000 a month, right? Just hypothetical. You gotta pay a tax on getting your check. You gotta pay a tax on your house that you live in. You gotta pay a tax on your car that you're driving. Oh, but the roads that you drive on, you gotta pay a tax for that. You gotta pay a tax for the gas. You gotta pay a tax for food to live in. On anything that you utilize, electricity, fucking water, cell phone, data, internet. You gotta pay taxes on all that shit too. So I fail to understand why it would be a bad thing that the IRS gets targeted by Doge and everything else, because a lot of people have been saying abolish the IRS, and I fucking agree. IRS needs to fucking go, because what they want to do is hire 80,000 fucking federal workers, skirt that shit under the rug, but fuck everybody else, right? Fuck out of here. Your ass needs to retire, Chuck. Next one. Tom Holman.
Read a headline to you. Chicago leaders encourage residents to exercise their rights in resisting Trump's deportation policies. The governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, basically admitted that he knew somebody that didn't have full documentation, that he was hiding over his garage.
But there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what, let's have her live at our house above our garage. And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her.
Your comment on all of that?
Well, I think the governor's pretty foolish saying what he said, because I got note of it, won't let it go, we'll look into it. And if he's knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien, that's a violation of Title 8 United States Code 1324. I would seek prosecution, or the secretary would seek prosecution. So maybe he's bluffing. If he's not, we'll deal with that. And as far as suing sanctuary cities, well, get in line, because the Trump administration is going to do that already. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. There's one example, right? If the young sanctuary cities in New York City, If they would have gave us over the killer of Laken Riley when he got arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he would have been in jail. And he would have never killed Laken Riley. Sanctuary cities are responsible for deaths of thousands of young children throughout my career. And we're going to sue him. We're going to hold him. And look, if he's got to go to the Supreme Court, that's what President Trump wanted to do. He will end sanctuary cities.
You know, there was a 2011
they need to, like,
Government Accountability Office study found 3 million criminal.
Sanctuary cities are harboring illegal aliens that are committing crimes. And what they do is they provide an outlet and a safe haven for those illegal aliens that are committing crimes. ICE couldn't touch them then. They can now. They need to go. Next. Senator Elizabeth Warren is throwing a tantrum over RFK Jr. passing the initial Senate Finance Committee vote, which is kind of funny because why the fuck is somebody who's going for a position going through a finance committee? Quote, vaccine manufacturers often operate on very slim profit margins. That's bullshit because we took a look at how rich Pfizer and Moderna got whenever they were rolling out the COVID vaccines. If they get sued repeatedly and successfully, they simply move out of the vaccine space. To be clear, she's arguing that big pharma should be shielded from lawsuits even when their vaccines cause harm. Yes, they 100% should be held liable for the bullshit that they push to the American people.
This is not only about a private company that gets sued.
And I do apologize for how low it is. That's at max. So
often operate on very slim profit margins. If they get sued repeatedly and successfully, they simply move out of the vaccine space. We've already seen this happen with vaccines in the past. 20 years ago, we watched vaccines just move away if they did not have protection from these kinds of lawsuits.
Can you name any specific ones? Because I would really love to know which one she's talking about.
The consequence of Mr. Kennedy's ability to make those lawsuits easier is also the ability to shut down access and manufacturing for vaccines for every one of us. And I think that's a terrible state.
Go back to the previous episode I did. I showed how many millions that they were getting. So I don't want to hear it. You are being funded by Big Pharma and you know it. Moving on. We're talking about Bill fucking Gates now.
Political influence abroad, quote, insane, along with another word we can't repeat here. But what's your take on his political access and influence here in America right now?
Well, Elon, his private sector work, has been very innovative, really fantastic. A lot of private sector people, when they get into government, they don't take the time necessarily to see what the good work is or why it's structured the way.
You have no room to talk for the good work because you hold at least 5 different fucking patents for 5 different fucking cures. I find it funny that you, the founder of Microsoft, own thousands upon thousands of acres, part of the World Economic Forum, and also are trying to push this fucking bug protein to a lot of people. Meanwhile, you were also responsible for burning thousands of acres, causing a lot of fucking issues for a lot of people as well. You are worth almost $200 billion. Write a fucking check, dude.
The way it is. So I'm a little worried, particularly with this USAID stuff. My foundation partners with USAID on nutrition and getting vaccines out.
I just said the fucking bullshit bug protein. He owns land. He should not be able. Nobody should be allowed to own that much fucking farmland. And the fact that he owns patents to cures.
There's incredible people. They're not actually worms that work there.
Yeah. You have no fucking room to talk.
So, hopefully we'll get some of that work back in shape. In fact, if we don't, you could have literally millions of deaths. So
Yeah. Oh, didn't they say that about, the severity of COVID and everything, COVID-19? And when people were dying from natural causes, they just ruled it out as COVID. But yet, whenever that pandemic happened and Trump shut the country down and ceased all travel, he was the bad guy. All right, cool. Moving on. This fuckhead.
I'm Marco Rubio. I'd be happy to do it, but I'm going to tell you right now, people are going to die in very large numbers around the world who are expecting the United States to live up to our promises to get them medicine, to get them help. And when that happens, people are going to remember that. There are people right now who have HIV who are alive only because the United States is making sure of that. Donald Trump says, we don't care. You go die.
Show me the quote. Show me the exact quote of what you said. Here's my issue. If millions of people are, reliable on the U.S. and we are shutting down this area, which you'll see the fucking wasteful spending through USAID. If we are the ones that are footing the bill globally towards other countries, research and developments and everything else, wouldn't people be raising a question on what the fuck my government's doing? Why aren't we moving forward into this technological space? What are we doing with our money? I don't know.
That's the message from the United States government. It is the wrong message to be sending, and it opens up the door for China and other people say, at least we're a stable government who's not going to leave you out here to die. That's what this is not an abstract.
No, you're fucking wrong on that one. China will leave you out to die. All right.
News now. The NPR senior editor who revealed to the world the...
Like I said, we got a lot of shit to go through. Look at that. Just look at this. We got a lot of shit.
Invasive liberal bias at NPR has just resigned. Now, remember, we first reported...
It's ironic he does that and he fucking resigned.
To you, Uri Berliner was suspended for 5 days without pay this week. And that happened after he wrote the article that you see there, the headline of In the Free Press last week. Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel. Mike, this was quick.
No doubt about it, Harris.
Because he doesn't want to bear any responsibility.
Comments about pervasive left-wing bias at NPR. Now the senior editor, Uri Berliner, writing on X, quote, I'm resigning from NPR, a great American institution where I have worked for 25 years. I don't support calls to defund NPR. I respect the integrity of my colleagues and wish for NPR to thrive and do important journalism. But I cannot work in a newsroom where I am disparaged by a new CEO whose divisive views confirm the very problems at NPR I cite in my Free Press essay. In the fallout of his scathing public commentary about NPR, Berliner wrote in the Free Press, quote, it is true NPR has always had a liberal bent, but during most of my tenure here, an open-minded, curious culture prevailed. We were nerdy, but not knee-jerk, activist, or scolding. In recent years, however, that has changed. In response, Editor-in-Chief Edith Chapman said she strongly disagreed in a memo to staff obtained by Fox, quote, we're proud to stand behind the exceptional work that our desks and shows do to cover a wide range of challenging stories. We believe that inclusion among our staff, with our sourcing, and in our overall coverage is critical to telling the nuanced stories of this.
To telling the nuanced stories. You mean your one-sided biases that you've had for years. Don't fit me that rhetoric. I've been seeing it since I've been alive.
Country and our world. Berliner gave examples criticizing coverage of Russiagate in the 2016 election, embracing the theory of systemic racism, and dismissing the possibility COVID escaped from the Wuhan lab. Key conservatives on Capitol Hill say this is really no surprise. Berliner says the election of Donald Trump in 2016 was greeted at NPR with a mixture of disbelief, anger, and despair, and he maintains coverage shifted toward efforts to damage or topple President Trump's presidency. Harris?
Like I said, one-sided biasness.
So he told the truth. They put pressure on him. The CEO leaned in hard. He quit. And can you blame him? Blame him. They made.
Moving on. I love her point. I'm not even gonna have to say a damn thing. Just listen.
I keep waiting and waiting and waiting for Democrats to start fucking redeeming themselves, and every single time I turn around, they make it fucking worse. Just 100%, no turnabout rate, nothing. It is just going downhill for the Democrats, dude. Can you please tell me, if someone, right, robbed a fucking bank, okay, let's talk about a hypothetical before we get into the real shit real quick. If someone robbed a bank, someone watched the security footage, saw who robbed the bank, told you who robbed the bank, you caught who robbed the bank, are you gonna be mad at the person that robbed the fucking bank or the person that told you you were being robbed? Okay, that's what's going on with Elon Musk right now. For those of you that don't understand, okay, Elon Musk was hired for the Department of Government Efficiency. What does the Department of Government Efficiency do? What is its main number one goal? To make sure that our government is running efficiently, dumbasses. And here you are, literally trying to shoot the fucking messenger because he is showing you that a lot of our money is being wasted on shit that is not needed. What type of fucking transgender opera do you need overseas? What type of all of these DEI inclusivity programs do you fucking need to be spending our money on overseas? And instead of being mad at the people that are stealing our fucking money and spending it 100% irresponsibly, you're mad at the man who told you you were being ripped the fuck off. You are a fucking cult member. Plain and simple. There is no saving for you, okay? Every single time you guys continue to peddle these lies, you are screaming more and more that you're a cult member. And the more and more you do it, the more and more the moderate Democrats are going to fucking leave you. Keep going. Keep fucking going. Show your utter stupidity. It's what you've been doing for 4 years. Keep it up. The rest of us are happy that we found out what we already knew, that we were being robbed. It must be shocking for you to deal with facts, but they're going to keep coming out. Our government has wasted billions upon billions upon billions of fucking dollars.
I'll even add this. Trillions of dollars.
For shit that is not important to American citizens. And you're mad at Elon Musk and not at your fucking representatives? What are you, fucking retarded? You have to be.
I ain't gotta say shit. People pissed off. Oh, he's going after him. All right. Why? How come your representative wasn't transparent with what they were spending money on? How come they didn't bother to say, "Oh, hey, by the way, we took your tax dollars and sent it over here," instead of working on an infrastructure, working on community rebuilding, working on actual programs that would benefit everybody else. Oh, your tax dollars, which you want to, curb homelessness. Yeah, fuck that. Let's just send it overseas. Another one he asked. Listen.
We don't pledge allegiance to the billionaires. We don't.
Yet you get funding from the billionaires because you're part of the Democratic Party, and I'm not, knocking. I'm not just gonna, leave the Republicans out here because they know who they are. They also get millions of fucking financial contributions from billionaires as well. Oh, and those corporations that give you the buyouts, yeah, those two.
We don't pledge allegiance to Elon Musk.
No, but I guarantee if we did an audit on where your funds were coming from, you would be pointing towards Soros and a couple other people.
We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk.
No, but you're a creeper that has very young staff, and along with a lot of you motherfuckers, and you act creepy towards them.
We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And this is the first time in a long time that I've actually seen the Democrats actually come united to, try to take out somebody who's actually showing you where the fucking corruption's coming from. Seems like you got your goddamn priorities twisted with your allegiance.
And so I want to make sure that my mother gets her Social Security check, not because she pledges allegiance to Elon, but because she pledges allegiance to the United States of America.
And she's still going to get her Social Security card and check and everything else, much like the veterans will get ours, because they know they don't want to piss off those minority groups, especially the veterans. Because if you thought the issues from the Vietnam vets towards the VA was bad whenever they fucking had a lot of shit go south, my generation of vets, it'll be like another fucking civil war. So Nice try.
I want to make sure your neighbor gets their tax refund, not because they pledge allegiance to the billionaire class, but because...
Oh, you mean the tax refund that we have to put every single notion of what we earn? We got to wait for a W-2 or a 1099 if we're a independent contractor, just so that we can hopefully get a return. And even though, you know, some of us qualify for stipulations and some benefits and other stuff, we're still not going to get it because we technically don't qualify, or we make too much, but yet we're barely surviving month to month and everything else. You mean those tax returns? Yeah, I think so. You would not be able to survive month to month on what I get, let alone somebody who's on active duty.
Because they pledge allegiance to the United States of America. And so we have work to do, right?
Oh, you mean that you're actually going to get off your ass and do the fucking work that you were elected to do to represent your constituents in your area? Shocking. I didn't know that y'all could work. I thought y'all just collected a paycheck and just didn't give a shit. Fucking ironic. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You need to fucking resign. Let somebody who's got a set of balls do your fucking job. All right, Nancy Mace.
USAID. They're screaming about Elon Musk over there, but
And this could not have lined up any better.
hey, George Soros and his boy are okay. You know, they scream that we're all a threat to democracy when they've been systematically dismantling democracy before our eyes. They've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and there's no going back. So I would tell my colleagues across the other side of the aisle, take your salty tears and sit right back down. USAID has long strayed from its mission to effectively and efficiently administer aid to advance American interests.
I mean, you see in the previous video, I ain't got to say anything on this, because she's right. Moving on. This is the biggest scandal in news media history. No employee at Politico got paid yesterday. This was on February 5th, 3 days ago. For the first time ever, the company missed a pay period. This is a crisis. Now we learn Politico, a news company, which spent the last 10 years trying to destroy the MAGA movement, was being massively funded by USAID. Trump and Elon deleted their funding. Now Politico will go out of business. The corruption is endless. Good riddance. And for those who are curious on how to read this right here is not hundreds of thousands. This is millions to billions. They literally just lost all their funding. Yeah, it's interesting how a corporation who received funding from one entity goes out of business whenever the corruption of it and the wasteful spending is revealed. All right.
Is this...
During a hearing on government efficiency, Democrats moved to subpoena Elon Musk and Republicans immediately moved to block it. Listen.
Unelected billionaire that he can attempt to dismantle federal agencies, fire people, transfer them, offer them early retirement, and have sweeping changes to agencies.
He almost said reform, but instead he corrected himself and said changes. I'm sorry, but sweeping reform in some of these agencies is what's needed.
Without any congressional review, oversight, or concurrence.
Why should Congress be in charge of what areas they want to reform? Last I fucking checked, if an entity that is a government efficiency division wants to reform areas of the government where it needs to actually be reformed, they shouldn't have to come to Congress. Hey, I found 130,000 areas that are wasteful. I want to reform it to 3 areas that are beneficial. They shouldn't have to do that.
Therefore, Mr.
Show
Chairman,
me the Constitution
given
where
his
it says.
prominence
I'm
and
curious.
his importance, I move that the committee subpoena Elon Musk to come before it as a witness at the earliest possible moment. And I so move.
There's been a motion and second. The motion is not debatable.
Mr. Chairman, why is it not debatable? Point of order.
It is debatable.
Mr. Chair, I strike the last word.
Hold on.
Mr. Chairman.
We're going to table the motion. Right. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we want to debate Elon Musk coming in and talking to us about his work and how he's enriched himself for under $64 billion?
Mr.
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Dr. Fox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to table the motion.
There's a motion to table. Is there a
Mr.
second?
Chairman.
Second by
Point of
Mr.
order.
Higgins.
Point of order,
Now,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
motion is not debatable, as many
Point of order, Mr.
are in
Chairman.
favor of tabling. Point of order. State your point.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's outrageous that this committee will not even entertain a motion.
No, you state your.
Chairman, that's not a point of order.
Somebody who's
I
breaking the law and dismantling our
And here we go with, like, this happens for, like, the next minute. It's just constant back and forth and bickering. The reason why it's not debatable is due to some of the rules and regulations that they have. In every single 4 years, whenever there's a new president or the same president retains, and whether or not the committees outweigh one another, where there's more seats on one side than the other, they come up with new fucking rules. Here's a goddamn thought. Have a set of fucking rules. Put that shit in stone. This is how we're going to operate from now on. Because if other areas of business have to go by their own bylaws, that's what they're called. If the VFW has to go by its own bylaws, the DAV has to go by its bylaws, the fucking American Legion, any other corporation, nonprofit organization, or anything has their own bylaws and rules and regulations that they have set in motherfucking stone. Why is it that the U.S. government doesn't have that as well? Saying it is bullshit. Moving on. All right.
Is really, this is irritating the crap out of me. I don't understand it. Why was America and the Democrats, why were you guys okay with America and the performance of America for the past 4 years when Biden was your president? But when you get someone that's in the presidency that's doing something for you, then you have a problem with it, and you make all kinds of news clippings going against a man that's fighting for you. I don't understand that. Please help me understand. When somebody wasn't doing anything for the past 4 years, why was America okay with the performance of the man in power for the past 4 years? But you're not okay with someone that's actually performing. Please help me understand that. Please. Thank you.
Nobody can answer the question because they don't want the truth. Nobody wants the fucking truth. Here it is. The reason why Americans were so comfortable with the way that it was operating with a man that didn't give a shit about him for the last 4 fucking years is because people got too used to being complacent. And they didn't want another 4 years of Donald Trump. Why? Because of everything that happened during the first 4 years of his first presidency. Then they found out they couldn't beat him legitimately and they rigged the fucking election. But we don't talk about that, right? We don't talk about how it was rigged, right? And then when he comes back around, he not only gets the Electoral College vote, he not only wins the 5 battleground states, but he also gets the popular vote. But Joe's the most popular president in American history, right? Right? I mean, you know. Really doesn't seem like that to me whenever they ask. He's doing a piss poor job on his first year. Most popular president, right? Yeah. Moving on.
He was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple
Jeffrey
times,
Epstein
multiple
bullshit.
times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. He has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior. So that's the difference there. And I think Americans see the two-tier justice system. But, you know, we don't know. They're saying Clinton has not been to his private island, but he has traveled all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. You know, they're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
You're going to see more of this come out in due time. Next.
And one more thing before I wrap up, because I do want to get to these meetings, and I will see you all at the EO signing later this afternoon. I would just say that you brought to mind California and North Carolina, who continue to be on our hearts, and the president and this administration are committed to ensuring that these individuals get the funding that they need. And I would just say a strong message to Democrats who are out there pretending to be outraged about the long list of crap that this administration is cutting, federal waste and funding, like $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. I could go on, and I'm happy to provide this list to every single one of you. Democrats are outraged that the American people want to be, they want their taxpayers going to good uses, not stuff like this. But then they're very quiet about the fact that there are still North Carolinians and people in California who have lost everything. And in the last 4 years, this federal government did nothing to help them. This president will continue to put Americans first. And I think the successes of this week so far speak to that. And it's only Wednesday. So I'll see you guys later this week, and we'll see you this afternoon. Thank you very much.
No dodging the question. No going back and forth with people. Not, you know, like unable to fucking sit there and take hard questions and everything else. Just boom, 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 boom. She comes in, she has her facts, she has everything prepped, she's ready to go. No, the president said that no, she has everything ready to go. Much better press secretary than KGP. By far. Moving on.
Alert, the Wall Street Journal is reporting the CIA has reportedly just offered a buyout to its entire workforce.
Ask yourself why the fuck they did that.
Everyone in the agencies telling employees late today they can quit their jobs and receive about 8 months of pay and benefits. It's a part of Trump's push to downsize the federal government. More as we get it.
That's not Trump offering him. That's the CIA itself. Ask yourself why the Central Intelligence Agency, whom, by the way, needs to be investigated for a lot of shit, and I am still not at liberty to fucking discuss because of this shit I fucking know. But why the fuck they decided to say, hey, we're offering our entire workforce the opportunity to quit early and just get 8 months pay as well. So you can be covered and able to go and find another job. Are they afraid of what might come out? Especially with the authorization and declassification items? I'd be fucking worried. Here we go again. And this is before she was she got done.
Made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on
I've wanted an audit of the U.S. federal government in all branches for the longest time since I was 18 and learning about different items. It's almost almost 20 years later. This is finally happening. And like, I know my dad, he's not happy about it, but I'm like, tough. This one, sit down and watch it unfold.
These receipts serve the interests of the American people. Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort. Thank you. I was made
Moving on.
heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here. And for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
In time, they will, but not right now because they're in their position of power. They will be called to testify over time. They will be called to, recant or not recant, but recall their statements and their notion. Like, this has been a long time coming and a long overdue. Moving on.
The transition and during his inaugural address, President Trump made it known that the United States cannot and will not allow the Chinese Communist Party to continue with its effective and growing control over the Panama Canal. Following Secretary Rubio's successful first trip and visit there over the weekend, Panama's president said he will allow its participation in the Chinese Communist Party's it will no longer allow the participation in the Belt and Road Initiative. That participation will expire. This is significant because Panama was the first Latin American nation to join Belt and Road and now becomes the first to back away from it because of President Trump.
Why the fuck does China have more control over the Panama Canal than any other country in the fucking world? If you go back to what Trump said about the canal, that deal was horrible. Moving on. This guy. I won't have to say a fucking word. Just listen.
People say, I didn't vote for Elon Musk. I was like, yes, they did. They absolutely did. Because President Trump couldn't have made it more abundantly clear that Elon, Bobby, and Tulsi would be on the team. Which means, boys and girls of the United States Senate, that when they're on the team, they're on the team. You don't get to kick them off the team. You can have your conversations. You can have your advise and consent. Remember, advise and consent. Advise and consent. Okay. All right. We've taken your advice, we've gotten your consent, and now it's time to move past this process. And we're going to move to the process of making America great again. You think USAID and taking down that behemoth was big? You think that was big? You just wait. You just wait and see what comes next. Oh, we're talking U.S. Department of Education, the National Endowment for the Arts. You will see horrors beyond your wildest imaginations, because buried deep down within the bowels of these things is truly the stuff of nightmares. And yes, I'm talking about the intel community.
That's why people are raising a fit, because the USAID is basically a umbrella that's funneling money to a bunch of areas it doesn't need to funnel money to. All from the taxpayers. People are like, oh, he's going to go out to the Department of Education. Ask yourself, what did they find within the DOE? What did they find within the other areas that are wasteful? Ask no. I seriously want people to ask themselves those fucking questions. What did they find that warrants them to go after these departments? It hasn't been shown yet, but I'm almost certain that it will in time.
Let's go. Caitlin, go ahead. Caitlin.
Thank you so much, President.
This is on Gaza.
Caitlin, go ahead.
On what you were saying there.
Say it. Go ahead, please.
Just to follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision the world, people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. I have no sympathy towards Hamas or the people of Palestine that fund Hamas's terroristic organization. They fucking attacked the Jewish nation of Israel whenever they were celebrating peacefully on October 7th. I have no remorse towards anybody who decides to target civilians, women and children in a grotesque manner where they capture women and fucking rape them to death. That's why I don't give a shit if they're all kicked out. I don't. This is long overdue. This is dating all the way back to biblical times. And people are like, oh, you don't know history. I know my fucking history. I know exactly what the history that is written and recorded shows and tells. It is the rightful land of the Israelis. It is the rightful land of those who settled there originally. It is not the rightful land of radical fucking terrorists. Moving on.
Colleagues are reacting with manufactured outrage over Elon Musk and the Doge team going in and cleaning up the federal government. They're saying the American people did not vote for this, but I would like to correct that record. On July 13th, when President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, Elon Musk got behind President Trump and he endorsed him.
Because that was the failure of the Secret Service.
On August 19th of 2024, this is before the election, Elon Musk posted on his own account, I am willing to serve, and that right there says Doge. This was not something that was created after the election. It is no surprise to the American people. As a matter of fact, the Department of Government Efficiency was a key part of President Trump's campaign,
Because he understood
Trump
there was a
campaigned
lot of
over
wasteful spending.
and over again on Doge and Elon Musk helping him. As a matter of fact, right here on Rolling Stones, which is very far left, by the way, Trump says he would give Elon Musk a top role in his administration. Again, this was on August 20th, 2024.
And if anybody wants to say, oh, he's not an American citizen,
surprise to the American people.
you have
American
congressional
people
members
love
that
Doge so
are
much. They love the
immigrants as well.
concept of saving the federal government, saving Americans, and putting America
So
first,
fucking spare me.
cutting the waste and the spending, cutting down the size of the federal government. They love it so much, they voted for President Trump and elected him with an overwhelming victory. He won the popular vote, 312 electoral college votes. It's the Democrats that are the ones that are still lost on their message, and their message is a failure, and the American people spoke out about it. As the national debt approaches $36.5 trillion, our children and our grandchildren's futures are being sacrificed at the altar of wasteful government spending and corruption. With my new subcommittee on Doge this Congress, we are going to dig deep on the wasteful spending and corrupt bureaucracies that have plagued our nation for far too long. We will make recommendations to address these problems, and we will make sure the American people know exactly what is being done with their hard-earned tax dollars. After all, this is what they voted for.
Yep. And it's what I said earlier. We are tired of our tax dollars going to bullshit. Moving on.
Are so steamed about Doge. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver says we are at war. Ilhan Omar says we might actually see somebody get killed. And Chris Van Hollen says we have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets. So what now?
I love it.
And may I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here. And for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
And they should, because like what she said, if Republicans had done that, they would have been, thrown to the fucking wolves and thrown to the mobs and almost damn near fucking lynched politically. It's bullshit. Oh, I can say that, but you can't. Much like certain other words, right? Moving on. This guy.
Totally understand why Democrats are mad right now. I get it. I get it. American Democrats, the normal American people who have been struggling for the last 4 years, they should be mad at Democrats that were in office. But now I understand why all of these politicians are pissed off that this kind of shit is being uncovered. $20 million for a photo op with Zelensky? Really? For Angelina Jolie? $4 million? To who? Ben Stiller? Okay. Y'all are mad because they're exposing exactly what you spent your money on. AOC, your crocodile tears suck, and I don't want to hear from you at all. Because I remember when that little situation happened in January and you were 6 blocks away crying that you felt unsafe. Nobody listens to you, girl. Okay? So, I'm so hot. I'm so heated about this. I am so happy that this is happening. I am so happy y'all are getting exposed, and I want more and more and more and more to get exposed. I want it. I want heads to roll. This is great. This is exactly what I voted for. Sorry, don't care. Cry. It's going to be a rough 4 years plus for y'all. Cry.
I like that. Yeah, no, again, this is another one I ain't got to say a fucking word on because he's 100% correct. And, yeah. They'll do their crocodile tears. They'll do their fucking fake bullshit just to get the point across in an emotional manner. Next, we're going to do this real quick. Social Security Administration has terminated its contract for the Gender X initiative marker and removed all references to gender ideology from public-facing applications. This saves a little less than $1 million and is in accordance with the president's executive order. So it's kind of hard to see. Oh, too far. Too fucking far. Yeah, I can't fucking see that. So here it says public gender, and then we scroll down. Public sex. Like, what is your sex? What is your sex? URL gender adjustment before the change and then after the change. It definitely 100% is changed right here. I think that's big, especially for waste and everything. And it's just like, it's interesting for the waste. Now, we go back to the video.
This is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible. Because what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have any money. We're dead broke. And then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. We are in huge trouble.
Here's the thing. Like, this is going to continue going on. But I wanted that part to get played. Here's the thing. And they're like, oh, by the way, every American... Oh, no. I only owe what I owe for my credit cards. The 2 credit cards I have. My vehicle. And my house. I don't owe any other shit to the federal government. And they want to say, they're like, oh, well, you have, this amount of debt. No, fuck off. No, the fuck I don't. Your organization does. Not me. Your organization has been wasting money. Not me. Your organization needs to answer questions on where the fucking money went. Not me. Moving on. Trump on Truth. Looks like billions of dollars have been stolen at USAID and other agencies, much of it going to the fake news media as a payoff for creating good stories about the Democrats. The left-wing rag known as Politico seems to have received $8 million. Did the New York Times receive this money? Who else did? This could be the biggest scandal of them all, perhaps the biggest in history. The Democrats can't hide from this one. Too big, too dirty. Oh, he's just saying that. Blah, blah, blah. The BBC isn't happy. Our statement on USAID funding. BBC is the... I'm almost certain. Google. What is the BBC? The British Broadcasting Corporation is a British public service broadcaster headquartered at Broadcasting House in London, England. And for my UK peeps, I'm sorry. But this cannot happen. We should not be responsible for funding your own news outlets. Quote, a free press is essential to freedom and democracy. Hold on. A free press, which means freedom of speech. Can anybody speak out about the king without being reprimanded? Can people post any comments on Facebook without getting a visit paid to them by law enforcement? Can anybody go out and protest without law enforcement getting involved? I know the answer to some of these, but still. Anyways, and 75% of countries around the world do not have a free press. BBC Media Action supports local media around the world to deliver trusted information to people most in need. Like many international development organizations, BBC Media Action has been affected by the temporary pause in U.S. government funding, which amounts to 8% of our income in 2023 and 24. We're doing everything we can to minimize the impact on our partners and the people we serve. As the BBC's international charity, we are completely separate from BBC News and wholly reliant on our donors and supporters to carry out our work. Why is the U.S. funding that? I didn't know the U.S. was funding that. Much like this. Go back. Can someone please explain to me why the Democrats are not protesting the streets about people in western North Carolina living in tents in the cold, but they're out in full force over the USAID transgender operas in Colombia. What is happening? And this is still the situation that's going on in North Carolina. Hell, California over in the Palisades, due to the fucking direct energy weapons, they're still burnt down to the ground. Oh, but this is the reason why. Because they are corrupt. The $40 billion USAID globalist scam with our taxpayer dollars. $15 million for condom and contraceptives for Taliban. Why the fuck are we giving a sworn organization that is the enemy of the United States of America, that is classified as a terroristic organization, fucking condoms and contraceptives? $2 million for sex change in Guatemala. Why the fuck are we funding shit in Guatemala? $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Is Egypt that fucking poor they can't do shit? $20 million to an Iraq Sesame Street show. What the fuck? Hold on. I want to get this right. So we got 15 plus 2 plus 6 plus 20. That's a million right there. 1.5 million to advance DI in Serbia's workplaces. 70,000 for production of DI musical in Ireland. Plus another 2.5 for electric vehicles in Vietnam. 47,000 for a transgender opera, not operation, opera in Colombia. 32 for a transgender comic book in Peru. 0.057. Plus another 2 million for Moroccan pottery classes. Another million to tell Vietnam to stop burning trash. But I thought we were the biggest polluters. Plus another 27 million to give gift bags to illegals. Oh, but here we go. Plus another 330 million to help Afghanis grow crops. That one I can understand. Plus 300 million to help Afghanis or on unused Afghani power plant. If the power plant was sufficient, you could have more greenhouses. You could fund. What the fuck? That's another 200 million on an unused dam. Plus another 250 million on an unused road. 9 million for Syrians humanitarian aid, but also went to Al Qaeda. Plus 1 million to help people in Kazakhstan become climate leaders. Plus 1 million for Hamas charities. Hamas, a designated terroristic organization. And you wonder why I don't donate to shit like that. 5.5 for LGBTQ activism in Uganda, plus 6.3 for men to have sex with men in South Africa. $100,000. I'm sorry. That's just what was recorded. That's just what's been shown right here. That's 1.1 billion plus. I wasn't putting all the zeros on there. Then we have what a production of opium in Afghanistan that benefited the Taliban. Millions to Eco Health Alliance and the Wuhan lab leak. Open collaboration with terrorist groups since 2011. Remind me who the fuck the president was during that time? Funding behind worldwide censorship. Funding the LGBTQ plus inclusive development policy. The Clinton Foundation worked with USAID in Haiti. And $1 billion fucking disappeared. Haiti was fucking wealthy before the fucking earthquake. And the Clinton Foundation moved in and completely put that entire country in fucking poverty. Burisma got a contract with them through Hunter Biden. And the caveat to all that, a global money laundering scheme that failed 7 audits. If any U.S. American fails an audit, their assets get seized. Oh, we just covered that. Moving on.
Justice Department ordered federal lawyers to do.
Oh, hold on. This is the part where I kind of tell you a little snippet of information that I know. That I have to be very careful with my words. And be very careful with how I say it. The director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, the FBI was ordered by Barack Obama not to arrest Hillary Clinton for espionage in violation of 18 U.S. Code 793, gathering, transmitting, or lost defense information. In fact, James Comey effectively served as Hillary Clinton's personal attorney. CIA John Ratcliffe, Lisa Page, confirmed to me under oath that the FBI was ordered by the Obama DOJ not to consider charging Hillary Clinton for gross negligence in the handling of classified information. Transcript excerpt of his interview with Page. Before I play this, The date, September 11th, 2012. Where ISIS rose. Four Americans were killed in the U.S. Embassy or consulate, which any embassy or consulate is designated as sovereign soil. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens, Sean Smith, Tyrone Woods, Glenn Doherty. This is noted through the movie, I'm almost certain it's Michael Bay, directed by Michael Bay, and story told by the operators that were there in the movie 13 Hours. With repeated calls for reinforcement and assistance were fucking denied. I can't get into the specifics of what the fucking emails that I seen. I can't get into the fucking specifics on the fucking transmissions that were given. But what I can say is whenever you are having an ambassador on what's considered sovereign U.S. soil being attacked and you don't do a fucking thing, you should be tried, thrown in fucking jail, and put to a firing squad for fucking treason!
Do and not to do concerning the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge tells us in sworn testimony.
Because I can't speak to the specifics. I can't. I am bound by an NDA clause through the fucking Intelligence Committee, CIA, FBI, and also sitcom of what I fucking know. I can't speak about that shit until 2040 motherfucking 2. I can't. By then, I hope I forget it. Every time my EAS date comes around, I'm reminded of that. You can't speak about this. You'll get thrown in jail. You can't speak specifics. You can talk, just brief about it, but you can't speak specifics because you had a specific classification and you seen the email strings on what was said. You can't speak specifics. You can't say who the header was. You can't say who the recipient was. You can't say the reason for the denial. You can't say the reason for the request. You can't say. You can't.
Testimony on Capitol Hill, one of the insiders told lawmakers what she was told.
During closed-door testimony last summer, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page said the Obama administration's Justice Department advised the FBI not to pursue the gross negligence statute for Hillary Clinton in the mishandling of classified information. Former U.S. Attorney and House Republican John Ratcliffe led the line of questioning about the statute, known as 18 U.S.C. 793. Ratcliffe, you're making it sound like it was the department that told you you're not going to charge gross negligence because we're the prosecutors. Page interrupted. That is correct. Page's testimony appears to conflict with then FBI Director James Comey's recommendation in July 2016 against criminal charges for Clinton.
What I can assure the American people is that this investigation was done honestly, competently, and independently.
They need to bring him and everybody else who had that back up there and start asking questions.
No outside influence of any kind was brought to bear.
The Republican-led House Oversight and Judiciary Committee investigation ended in January. With Democrats now in control, the committee's new ranking Republican made the Page transcript public.
The transcript releases show an inherent two-tier system, one in which Hillary Clinton gets the treatment that she got, where there was actually at first concern that they were going to charge her, and then with Loretta Lynch in charge, before she recused herself, made it very clear that that was not going to happen.
The tip-off came from a chart drawn up by federal investigators assigned to the Clinton case known as mid-year exam. Fox News has confirmed that the chart listed possible federal statutes for prosecution. Next to gross negligence was a notation, quote, DOJ not willing to charge this. Only known cases are military, cases when accused lost the information. In response to the Page revelations, the president tweeted the transcripts, quote, make the Obama Justice Department look exactly like it was, a broken and corrupt machine.
The Page transcript also confirms Fox's earlier reporting. The Page testified Russia collusion was still unproven when Special Counsel Robert Mueller was appointed. Brett?
Catherine, thank you.
If that doesn't piss you off, you've been living under a goddamn rock. Moving on.
So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap. Eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Close the carried interest tax deduction loophole. Tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done. So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration.
I don't see an issue with that. No tax on tips, no tax on senior Social Security, no tax on overtime pay, which this is a big one. Here's the reason why I say it's a big one. If you are, like, I know at least in whenever I was doing construction, if you went above like 72 hours, you got hit hard with tax. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all special tax breaks for billionaire sports teams owners. Close the carried interest tax deduction loophole. Tax cut for Made in America products. I don't understand the big issue with items that are made in America. It means it didn't have to go through any importation, like any process in importing goods from another country. If it costs less and it's made in America, I'm gonna fucking buy it. Simple. All right.
Trump ran for office saying, I'm going to review every single penny in the federal budget. Now, how are you going to review the spending in the federal budget without reviewing the spending? And that's what Mr. Musk is doing. Now, many of my Democratic colleagues and some of the tofu-eating wokerati at the USAID are screaming like they're part of a prison riot because they don't want us reviewing the spending. But that's all Mr. Musk is doing, and he's finding some pretty interesting stuff. To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares. They better get used to this. It's USAID today. It's going to be Department of Education tomorrow. And really, here's what's going on. For 4 years under President Biden, the people in charge ask one simple question. Who needs to pay more in taxes? Who needs to pay more in taxes? Well, that's not the question that the Republicans and President Trump are going to ask. Our question is, what the hell happened to the money?
Exactly.
And that's all that's going on.
Like, we're curious what the fuck they've been doing, man.
$520 million for consultant-driven ESG investments in Africa, $45 million to DEI scholarships in Burma. Why are your Democratic colleagues seemingly more freaked out about cutting U.S. aid? This is our money. Do you know how much $1 million is? 520? I mean, we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars over the years on this madness. What are they thinking? We have $40 trillion in debt.
If you notice, my Democratic colleagues and the USAID officials, they're not defending the spending. All they're talking about is process. Oh, it's an insurrection, and Elon Musk doesn't have the authority. Well, sure he has the authority. The president gave it to him. And all he's doing is looking at the spending, just what the president said he was going to appoint Musk to do. Here's what I hope Rubio and Musk do. I would put together all this absurd spending into a booklet. I'd call a press conference, and in front of God and country and the corporate media and the USAID folks and my Democratic colleagues, I'd go over it item by item by item, every bit of it. The DEI comic books, the transgender operas, the funding of gain-of-function research. I'd go over every bit of it and say, now, do you want to defend this? And they won't. They can't.
And he's 100% right.
Now,
They can't defend that because they've been caught. All right. This is fucking golden. This is how you handle an anti-white black racist. Oh, but I thought people can't be racist unless they're white. This is two fucking elected officials, mind you. One's black, one's white. One's black, one's white. Listen.
This congressman just ended the race debate in a few seconds.
Please keep Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s name out of your mouths. When he was a proud and unapologetic black man fighting for equality for black Americans and all marginalized people.
I appreciate my Democrat colleague for exemplifying exactly the kind of oppression of freedoms that we're referencing. How about we'll quote whoever we want to quote? How about that's my First Amendment right? How dare a white Republican quote Martin Luther King? We actually had a congressman say that just now in this committee. And thank you, good lady, for once again exemplifying the type of oppression that we stand against. We will continue to speak freely because I'm a veteran. That's the country that I serve. That's the Constitution I swore allegiance to. That oath has no expiration date.
No expiration date whatsoever.
This congressman just ended.
She got pissed because he referenced MLK. If I want to reference Malcolm X, MLK, or any leader of their community, or any leader or figurehead that's not white, I'm going to fucking reference them because that's one, my God-given right. Two, all right, I fucking serve to preserve and defend and protect. So fuckheads like that can say shit. She needs to resign. It's not because she's black. It's because she decided to become racial towards him.
So many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to the
around, find out.
Impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. This is not a game. When we show up these sites, this is a dangerous job for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and all the DOJ agencies. To have that type of interference puts our officers at great risk. Not only the officers, it puts the aliens at great risk because anything can happen when we take our eyes off the goal here. So we're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today, Operation Security, how these leaks are happening. We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today. So,
yeah, he's tired of the fucking games. You heard everything. All right. Pam Bondi has directed the Department of Justice to pause all federal funding for sanctuary cities. Listen.
Criminals made one.
And it's like I get you're hearing it on the left side. I do apologize. It's just the way the audio was captured within this clip. It drives me nuts too.
Very big mistake. They wound up in Polk County. And I'll tell you, it's bad enough in one thing to profit from poisoning others, but it's another when you bring drugs from Mexico into our country, California, Texas, Georgia, and end up in our state and do it with impunity. Because when you're in this country illegally and you're doing things illegally, I want to tell you, and you wind up in Polk County, Grady Judd is going to find you, the DEA is going to help them, and my statewide prosecutors are going to lock you up for as long as we can.
and we're going to enjoy it.
And each of these defendants are looking at 30 years in Florida State Prison for conspiracy to traffic drugs.
Insane. Yeah, somebody who's 100% not fucking around with this shit. Moving on.
More on media coverage of this executive order and the topic in general. What's the White House's view of framing that calls men transgender females or similar rhetoric coming from organizations like the ACLU and GLAAD?
Well, it's been very clear. The policy of this administration is that there are only two sexes, male and female. Pretty simple. Brian Glenn.
Yes.
Thank you. And one more on media coverage.
Like I said, I'm old school. People can identify however the fuck they want so long as it doesn't affect me. I don't care. The moment they start becoming egregious towards me is whenever I'm going to fire back. Simple. Identify how the fuck you want. Live your life accordingly. Moving on.
All these left-wing people suddenly, Bernie Sanders making a post about how Donald Trump is trying to silence independent media was the wildest fucking gaslighting I think I've ever seen from a politician. Independent media? You mean fucking CBS? You mean CBS that edited that Kamala Harris interview to make it look like she had a really good point?
100%. And then I don't know if you caught Alex Soros reposting this claim that basically you have an unelected cabal wielding power. I mean, that's
you.
Yeah,
that's you, Alex. That's your dad. This is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very strange historical moment.
Also, it's like you haven't addressed any of the exposed corruption. All you're talking about is the horrors of dismantling this amazing organization. What about all the shit that they've uncovered? There's not even a counter argument. Like, no, we need to fund gender fluid dance in fucking Turkey. like, what are you talking about? We need $200 million for Starbucks Keurig cups. What?
Like, he's talking about the wasteful spending and on all the other stuff. Like, seriously. Like Alex Soros, who's George Soros' son, has no right to say any of that. Moving on. Al Green. Now, before I play this, I will say this. I've never cared for his policies. I've never liked the policies. He said something stark about vets many years back, around 2015 time frame. And he later did apologize for what he had said. I've met him in person. The man's character is, community first. I understand his position with the community. However, his policies and the way that he acts towards people he don't agree with it's not in line.
The protests don't have a plan. Well, the plan is here. This is the plan. Protest, complain now, impeach later.
Let's get to calls.
So protest, complain, then impeach. Or collectively, people can ask for your resignation. You'll have no power to do anything.
Because the lines have lit up. Richard in Savannah, Georgia, Republican. You're up first, Richard.
Thank you. I watched you yesterday with the Democrat Party out protesting everything that Elon Musk is trying to do for the American people. The USAID is a 100% of money laundering scheme around the world, kickbacks back to the Democrat Party, whether it's through the Clinton Foundation in Haiti, $4.4 billion, and $84 million went to her daughter, Chelsea Clinton. all y'all have is impeachments and race and gender, et cetera, and you actually do nothing for the people of America today. I think the Democrats should sit back and let America see what it's like to reduce the people in government, the wasteful spending. And all y'all can do is just complain and be negative, and we're sick of it. And also,
Richard,
you
let's have the congressman respond.
No, don't have the congressman respond because he's making points. He's done his research. He's saying it right in his face because Al Green, this gentleman, wants to impeach Trump on stuff that he's doing. I'm sorry, Mr. Green, but you don't have much of a case. You don't, unless anybody can put together a case for him in the comments, come up with the crimes that he's committed that is unfit for his office, or list the crimes, not come up with list the crimes that he's done, anything that he's violated within the Constitution, and anything that he's violated against the power of the executive branch. Put it in the comments and send it to Al Green. Simple. Now, good luck trying to email it to him if you live outside of the district, or trying to contact him. But it is what it is. Moving on.
Breaking news at a Fox News alert now on that employee buyout program. We were speaking to Carolyn Levitt.
Federal labor unions are the ones who sued to block the Trump administration from offering federal workers buyouts per Fox. So I tried finding this article. I couldn't find anything within the memo because a lot of the memo stuff was blacked out. Everything else for retire all government employees, which government does not need to be as fucking large as it is. It needs to be condensed to where people have the say in government, not government have the say on people. Government overreach is too much. And yeah, this cannot happen. I'm not going to play this one because it's not worthwhile. All right, here we are. Nobody elected, this or that. All right, who elected the FBI, IRS, CIA, FDA, DOJ? Well, DOJ is appointed, not elected. NIH, yeah, that's one. NIH. The ATF sounds more like a convenience store. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Who elected the CDC? DOE's the head of DOE is appointed, but I get it. Who fucking elected the World Economic Forum? That's what I want to know. Who elected Dr. Fauci? And who elected the WHO? Who? The WHO. Who? What who? The No, seriously. Like, you want to say who elected Elon Musk? Who elected all of these fucking organizations right here? All of these were appointed. Kind of simple, right? Now, here's a big fucking issue. Durbin needs to be called in front of a committee and asked, why are you blocking this? Senator Durbin is blocking the Epstein client list. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin is standing in the way of full transparency on Jeffrey Epstein's network, refusing to support a subpoena for the full, unredacted flight logs and records. He's hiding something. Senator Marsha Blackburn has been pushing for these records, arguing that the public deserves to know who was involved in Epstein's global sex trafficking ring. Yet Durbin, as Judiciary Committee chairman, continues to block efforts to expose the full extent of Epstein's connections. We in America deserve answers. We do. Sources are Forbes and X, and there are a lot of people that can cross-reference everything on Twitter/X. So I will take a source on Twitter/X all fucking day long versus CNN or Politico or any other biased news corporation. Don't believe me? Here you go. Boom. Boom. Senate Judiciary Democrats. As Patel's nomination must be delayed until we can fully evaluate his misleading testimony. Okay. Dick Durbin is terrified of the release of Epstein's client list, which he blocked. The time is to confirm Patel is now, and then basically going from here. And kind of fucking simple. 'Cause I'm going to tell you now, you are not going to like who's on that list. You won't.
I think you guys don't have a.
This gentleman knows his facts and everything whenever it comes to state and stuff. Listen to this.
Grasp on how much money USAID was sending out the door. You see this list right here? This is just the end of November through January of this year. It's fucking 2.5 months. Oh, and this is just payments to one organization whose focus is taking care of illegal immigrants that are here in the U.S. Look at these fucking dates and these dollar amounts. January 22nd, almost 76 million. That same day, we gave them another 4 million. On the 18th, we gave them a payment of 23 million.
Something Lutheran.
We also gave them a payment of 97 million. 2 weeks later, we gave them 140 million. Like almost all of these payments are going to one.
Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services Incorporated. Lutheran Family Services in the Carolinas. What is this one? Lutheran Services Florida Incorporated. Lutheran Services of the Southwest. Lutheran Social Services in the National Capital Area Incorporated. Menominee County Intermediate School District.
One fucking organization. You're telling me that Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, they apparently needed 1.4 million this day, and 281,000, 750,000, 500,000. Oh, and let's make sure before Donald Trump cuts this off, there's a payment of 76 million and 4 million. Guys, this shit has to fucking stop.
You see the areas, you see the amounts. I don't get it. Moving on. Down to get in government staff pensions except military. There was never an intent for the rest to be lifelong positions, and corporations have eliminated pensions. The government must follow suit. The only jobs that deserve pensions are military and frontline emergency services. No one has been able to explain to me why young men and women who serve in the U.S. military for 20 years, risking their lives protecting freedom and only getting 50% of their base pay, while politicians hold their political positions in the same confines of the Capitol, protected by the same men and women, and receive full payment retirement after serving one term. They get that shit for life. For fucking life. Just put this in perspective, okay? How much does the average Congress or congressional representative, how much do they make? All right, $174,000 annually. Now, I'm just going to round to the nearest one. That's 1 year. 3 fucking years. And I'm still not even averaging 1 year of their salary. It takes over 3 fucking years just to match one of theirs. Make it make sense. Put their asses on a fucking minimum wage. Then you'll see shit start to fucking get done. Moving on.
Find it rich that all of the sudden the other side has some problem with successful businessmen being involved in politics whenever you guys are the party of George Soros, of Bill and Melinda Gates, of Sheryl Sandberg, of Mackenzie Bezos, of Taylor Swift, of so many other billionaires across the country, as well as every woke, weird pervert in Hollywood. I find this incredibly disingenuous. I think the reality is that the Republican Party under President Trump has a very clear mandate from voters, and you guys don't like it because voters rejected everything you stand for and every policy that you've shoved down the American people's throats over the past 4 years, whether it's open borders, a failing economy, raging inflation, this weird woke stuff
that you guys have been shoving down our children's throats, and the voters rejected you and they welcomed our party.
He's not wrong. I ain't got to say a fucking thing. Moving on. I want my money back.
$1 million was spent for transgender animal testing?
Yes, and that's, I would say, is the floor, not the ceiling, because the information on federal databases is pretty incomplete.
So you think we're going to find out that it was much more money than that for
yes,
transgender animal testing?
Yes.
Can you describe what exactly the American people's taxpayer dollars were spent on regarding transgender animal testing?
Yeah, in a lot of these cases, they're involve mice, rats, monkeys who are being surgically mutilated and subjected to hormone therapies to mimic female to male or male to female gender transitions, gender affirming hormone therapies, and then looking at the biological, psychological, and physiological effects of the gender transitions, looking at the effects of taking vaccines after you've transition these animals from male to female or female to male, looking at the size of their genitals changing after you've put them on estrogen or testosterone therapies to transition them. And in the case that the chairwoman, the example the chairwoman gave, there was a $1.1 million grant to give female lab rats testosterone to mimic transgender male humans and then overdose them with this party drug to see if animals who were taking female animals taking testosterone were more likely to overdose on this sex party drug than animals who were not taking testosterone.
Mr. Goodman, are many of these taxpayer-funded animal studies shared with the public, or is there a significant oversight of this research?
Listen to this.
You essentially needed a degree in information technology to navigate the federal spending databases to find any of this stuff.
So what you found is we're not being very transparent with what we're spending these funds on.
Yep. It's ironic that they're not transparent with any of that shit. This one is about 4 minutes long. I'm not going to play that, but there is one that I'm going to play. I just like while that was playing because I've already seen that and I've already heard it. But this is 5 rules to unfuck Congress. Listen.
How fucked up the United States Congress is with 5 simple rules. The first rule obviously being term limits. The people in Congress should be just like the president. They are only allowed to serve 2 terms. Then they can make way for someone else who has something else to say. Rule number 2, congressmen and women are paid the median salary of the state they represent. If a congressman or woman wants to make more money, they need to take action to raise the median salary of the people in their state. This will immediately guarantee that they understand the people they represent. And I know people are going to say that would be hard to do because they have to go back and forth between Washington and their state. That leads me to rule number 3. No more traveling to Washington, and also no overseas travel paid by the taxpayer. Now, how will we accomplish this? Easy. We all know what fucking Zoom is. It is 2024. There is no fucking reason for our representatives to be traveling to Washington. There is no reason they have to meet in the same fucking room. We just install big-ass iPads on each chair, and they can talk it out over Zoom. It's fucking insane that we are paying for our representatives to travel all the way across the country just to fucking vote. All we need is big-ass iPads, secure push-button voting technology, and video conferencing technology. 3 things we already have. As for the overseas travel, there is zero fucking reason for a representative from Idaho to have to go to Paris on official business. They are not foreign dignitaries. They are not part of some international Peace Corps. They are representatives of their state, so they need to stay in their fucking state. Now, if they want to go overseas on vacation, that's fine. They can pay for it themselves. But there's absolutely no fucking reason taxpayers should be footing the bill for representatives or senators to fly overseas. Now, without them traveling all over the place, that's going to free up a lot of time. And that'll lead into rule number 4, which is single-issue bills only. Any bill that's submitted to be voted on can only be about one single issue. There is no fucking reason a veterans benefit bill should have anything unrelated to veterans in it. It should be putting up one issue at a time, voting on one issue at a time, and passing or not passing one bill at a time. Want more money for Ukraine? Put up a bill that is just the Ukraine funding. Don't combine it with some bill giving benefits to old people to try to make everyone feel bad and vote yes. If a bill or an issue can't pass on its own merits, then it doesn't need to be passed. And lastly, rule number 5. Anytime a member of Congress speaks to the media or the American people, it is automatically assumed that they are under oath and can be charged with perjury for lying to the American people. And if through a jury of their peers, preferably that jury should also be made up of the residents of the state they represent, they will be immediately removed from office. And that's it. 5 rules to unfuck Congress.
Very easy, very clear. Now, we are going to shift gears in the realm of from politics to streaming, and this doesn't take long. First and foremost, not you, but you. Trainwreck, you have no fucking room to talk.
Did you see that face kid view butting, brother? I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. Like, it's bad. It's bad. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, I'm like, me and like maybe 5 others might be the only ones in the entire fucking industry not botting. Like,
you and 5 others are the only ones not fucking. Motherfucker, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Hold on. Like, seriously. God damn it. Like, you and 5 others out of the entire fucking industry are the only ones that don't bot? Bitch, if I actually had a fucking account on botted. What the fuck? I'm pretty sure I'd see some metrics of that shit where you are indeed fucking view botting, homie. You have no fucking grounds to talk on that shit. If fucking you saying that 99%, fuck, hell, you say 5%, so 99.9, or 5 people, infinitely, 99.9, infinite repeat, are botting, I'd be fucking partner right now on every goddamn platform I stream to.
maybe in like the top one, in the top 100, I would say it's got to be like everyone's bullshitting. Everyone is bullshitting.
Show your analytics.
I would say of the new wave, the new generation, I would say 99% are bullshitting.
Okay, the new generation. All right, I'll give you that one. The new generation, yes, a lot. Like 99% are fucking botting. That's no fucking lie. Those who've been on this grind for as long as we have, we understand what hard work and due diligence is. Simple. Now, fucking new terms and conditions on Kick. We're moving that over to here. But the transparency on Kick in 2024. Commitment to safety, I call bullshit. Let's see. Kick active management and trust and safety. You say you have user awareness. You also say you have real people. Yeah, identification, assessment, enforcement, escalation. That is all fucking bullshit. How do I fucking know? 8 months from the same dude with 96 fucking accounts. We have human content moderators online 24/7. Bullshit. Platform reports. Let's see. I've fucking reported shit on fucking Twitter. Oh wait, this is after I deleted my account. Where's the fucking thing? Here we go. Terrorism. I'm pretty sure at least 100 of those are from me. Hate speech or symbols. I'm pretty sure at least 1,000 of those are from me. Let's see. Action user reports. Nothing. Report reasons. I want to say y'all just straight up came up with all these. Okay. So your community guidelines are all bullshit. I can tell you that right fucking now. And I said a little too fucking late, honestly. Your reporting system does not work. If it did, I would still have an account. Simple. Okay. This is intellectual properties. Let's see. Oh, you have this is their new community guidelines. I've 100% seen this. The only thing that they did was just put drop downs on this. It's nothing new. Absolutely nothing new. Now, here's this. If you are a Kick creator, a partner, and or in the Kick Creator Incentive Program, you 100% need to read over this. If you do not, and you are unable to claim ownership on your fucking content, Joker laid this out perfectly. Hey, yo, Kick Creator Incentive Program streamers, you good with this? Quote, streamer acknowledges and agrees that the company or related body corporate of the company is applicable is and will be the sole and exclusive owner of all right, title, interests, including all intellectual property rights in its trademarks, logos, trade dress, images, or other material and other company intellectual property collectively as the company material, and all posts, streams, videos, recordings, and other online content referring to, including authorized incorporating the company materials. Which means if you have the URL kick.com before the / with your username, guess what? They own your content. That is the same bullshit that I refuse to adhere by with any platform. I create the content to be produced out on the platform, not the platform creating the content. 1.2, the streamer hereby licenses and authorizes Kick to use his or her portrait, name including real name, nickname on kick.com, and in-game names. No, bitch! No! That's an overstep. I have an issue with that. If I'm in the Kick Creator Incentive Program, I'm contacting the lawyer. And I'm having a new contract drafted. Dude, I'm telling you, they just fucked themselves with this. Unless otherwise provided, the streamer shall be deemed to be the author of information and content. Oh, so this still applies. No matter what, this applies and overrides this. Licenses granted under clauses 1.2, 1.3 are exclusive. Bro, they fucked themselves. They just straight up fucked themselves. I can't. Yeah, when I rebrand, you will never see me produce content on Kick ever again. Ever. Anyways, I could go through all this, but it's the same thing. Kick is going to own all of your content. I'm sorry, but that's just how it's going to be. If you want to retain ownership of your content and all works that you've done, don't stream to Kick. Don't. Go to other platforms. It's simple. You can catch me Monday through Saturday. Links below. I know this was a long one. Appreciate the like and sub. Y'all take care. I'll see you on the next one. I'll try to keep it under an hour if there's, a lot of shit. Y'all take care. Bye.